Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for day 3 of World Veg Fest. We're so excited to have Nina Curtis with us, Chef Nina Curtis. She's going to be making us a vegan breakfast this morning, and I'm so excited about it. And if anybody has any questions, please drop them in the chat. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get handed over to Nina, and then I'll pop back in with questions later.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So excited to have you back. If you were here yesterday at 1 p.m., you know I did the collard green chickpea tuna wrap. And then I know I said I had manners and I wouldn't eat it on camera with you. But when I finished and continued to watch the rest of the program, which was so awesome and so informative, I just devoured it. And can I tell you, it was so good. I really like foods that we can wrap up and have ready to go, because we're all on the go, even in this season. We need things that are convenient. So because I'm in a kitchen, usually you're in my home kitchen right now, welcome. I'm always thinking about things I can prepare at night and have ready to go pretty easy in the morning when I'm getting up at 4:30 to be in the kitchen at 5:30. And breakfast is not only my favorite meal of the day, it is the meal that sustains me throughout the day, because once you're in the kitchen, it's a fallacy to think chefs eat all day. It's a fallacy. We taste all day, but we rarely have time to sit down and eat a meal as you should. So I've learned the hard way not to try to devour, a full-on meal in 5 minutes and then need to get back to the stove. It just doesn't do well. So for my own self-care in the kitchen, which needs to be really considered for those of us in culinary, for the hours we work, anywhere from 10 plus 16 hours sometimes, I'm in the kitchen, and I'm the executive chef and director of the Vitalize Cafe, which is here in Roseville at the Adventist Healthcare corporate offices. So we own 25 plus hospitals. We've just acquired the Blue Zones. If you know about that foundation, we are a part of Seventh-day Adventist congregation. So we advocate already for a vegetarian diet. And Seventh-day Adventists were one of the groups that Dan Buettner studied for the National Geographic article and research about 12 years ago. But Loma Linda, where they were the main group that was studied for longevity, for living longer in this life. And we still advocate for that. And now we have acquired the Blue Zones. I've been vegan 20 plus years. So this is not new to me, but I'm just thrilled with the amount of interest and excitement that people have for considering a plant-based cuisine. I'm a professional chef. I started cooking in the kitchen with my mom at 8 years old. My dad is a classically French trained chef, and he focused on catering. So at 8, extra pair of hands were always needed. And I was like, there is no way I'm going to do this for my living, because one, I didn't make any money. It was free labor. But I wanted to be known when my dad has sous chefed for me, I have paid him. So I just wanted to put that out there, Dad. I hope you're watching. I love you. And I have a background in wellness and holistic therapies. I had a holistic spa for many years in West Hollywood and Beverly Hills. And then food has been my life. So this morning, my favorite thing to make that I'm going to share with you, I'll wait to eat it as I did yesterday, is a breakfast burrito. Because one thing I said yesterday is, when I work with people, either from a healthcare point or a lot of transitioning people into a more plant-based diet, even if their goal is not to become 100% vegan, that's fine. I'm a vegetable and fruit pusher. We know societally that we do not get enough fruits and vegetables and fiber in our diet. And then that causes a host of issues throughout our years, right? So if we're talking about one, self-care, if we're talking about longevity, if we're talking about just looking our best, eating your skincare. I just did a program last weekend for a spa conference talking about the foods we need to eat that really make us look vibrant and continue to have that glow. The J-Lo glow, that's makeup. I'm gonna talk about a glow from within, but my breakfast burrito is hands down one of the favorite breakfast items, and some people like it for lunch at our cafe, and we feed our associates. So we're not really open to the public, but through this season, we've opened up with CSA boxes we've created, Vitalized Cafe at-home meals that have been very popular in the cafe. And now we're doing a minimal lunch offering while more people come in. But let's get started. Couple of things. I'm gonna use a flour tortilla. Yesterday, I used a collard green wrap. If you don't wanna do the carbs, or you're not doing, there's gluten-free things right now, but if you're not doing wheat, you could also do a collard green breakfast burrito. Okay, so those of you that were here yesterday, you know what I'm talking about. And because there are going to be recordings, so you can watch the things you might have missed and watch again, you'll be able to see what I did yesterday and compare it to today. So simple flour tortilla, it is vegan. And then what I'm going to fill it with, and you can choose your fillings. But to me, in the restaurant, what I know as a breakfast burrito, you've got to have red potatoes. And we've got red onions in here and all kind of delicious herbs and spices. And then I'm going to, my egg, which is very important, I'm going to use a firm tofu. Now I've put turmeric in here. I've also used black salt. And I'm talking the kala namak black salt, not the Hawaiian black lava. There's a difference. The Hawaiian black lava salt is a sea salt with activated charcoal. The kala namak, or black salt as it's known, used in a lot of Asian and Indian dishes because it's highly sulfuric in its taste. How do eggs taste? They're very sulfuric. So again, yesterday I talked about flavor profile. When you say to someone, oh, this has an egg in it, a tofu egg, they're still expecting it to taste like egg. So we have sea salt, black pepper, turmeric, anti-inflammatory, and kala namak has a high content of sulfur. It's a little bit lower in sodium, but you know, you still, if you need to be careful with your sodium intake, be mindful of that. But it has a lot of minerals also. And sulfur, methylsulfonomethane, MSM, is such an important mineral for the body that many of us are becoming or showing to be depleted. So we're gonna do our egg, and then I like my sausage. So this is a Chipotle sausage that came in a sausage form. I cut it up. Let me tilt this just a little so you can see better. I just cut it up so you could put it in that way, but in the cafe, I like to put it, we put it through the food processor because we're using so much, but I just minced this morning because if you don't have a food processor, you can still use this to work with. So with that, we've got that. I like a little cheese. This is an oil, coconut oil base, because I know there are people that have sensitivity to nuts. We're very mindful of the allergies out there in our cafe. So it is an oil-based cheddar flavor and very delicious. So let's get started. I am going to take my flour tortilla. I'm just gonna step back here, turn my flame up, and I'm old school. I put it right on the burner and toss it. I don't like putting it in the oven, but if you want to, you can. I just like it. It keeps it more pliable and I can control how hot I want it. And it's very easy to work with. I just get it a little crisp. If you want it crisper, you can, you know, roll it and then put it in a pan and like toast it instead of burning it. Don't burn it. I don't mind a little charred. See how quickly I went from it being burnt to a charred? So we've got that down, right? And then I have already prepared, because organization is everything. So I said I like to do things at night. I don't necessarily wrap my burrito at night, but I'll have my Sausage meat already done. Remember, this is a wheat gluten base, but there are other things out there. I could also do a walnut lentil meat if I've got somebody that's concerned about the wheat gluten, and it's just as delicious. We put that in our haystacks, which is like a taco salad, and people can't believe it because it's all in the seasoning and flavoring. I have my potatoes already warmed, and I have my egg. Now, I put my cheese in my egg because that's how I like it. So I cooked it together. So you see some of that oil coming up off the cheese. So now I've already prepped these things at night, cover them up. I can pop them in the oven in the morning and then just toast my flour tortilla and we're ready to go. So let's get going here because I am hungry. I'm going to put my egg down first. You can add a little more cheese if you want, but I know I put enough cheese in here to give it that gooey goodness. I'm then going to put my potatoes down, and the potatoes are red potatoes. I like to use baby or rose potatoes. And then, like I said, I put the herbs in them. I put a little bit of red onion, and I just stovetop roasted these. But then I can make a container of them, and it's easy for me to warm them or just throw them in the skillet again really quickly to get the heat through them, but they've already been cooked. I'm using about a 1/4 cup of each of these fillings, okay? Eyeballing it, but I know how much we put in the burrito. Then I made a Pico De Gallo, which is optional, but this one has Roma tomato and scallions and jalapeno. And I didn't put the cilantro, we usually do in the kitchen, but I know some people are a little sensitive to cilantro. So sometimes we'll take coriander, which is the seed of the cilantro, and grind that up. And you only need a little bit, but it gives so much flavor and depth of flavor. The black salt also is really great because it not only gives that savory aspect to the egg, it also gives that very umami flavor, and umami is a flavor, and that's what really satiates people. Umami is in animal flesh type products. Umami is in egg. Umami is rich in, or mushrooms are rich in umami. So when you're thinking about transitioning or just yourself and you want to carry these flavors, so we want salty, we want sweet, we want pungent, we want bitter, we want umami, and then fat is an important component because when fat hits the tongue, it's going to carry all the flavors longer. So it's really, really satiating. I'm going to use a little bit of scallion, even though I already have it in my Pico De Gallo, because I love that so, so much. And then I made, and we do different things. We will take dried chipotle peppers, we'll reconstitute them, and that just means soak them overnight in water, make sure the water's covering them. And then we'll seed those, because if you want your jalapenos or any of your spicier peppers less spicy, take the seeds out. That's where the real heat is. So take the seeds out, and then you get this beautiful flavor that isn't challenging your palate for how much spice or heat you can handle. But I took a salsa verde that I use, and I just took some of the same, follow your heart. I have no connection with the company. It's just what I choose to use. It's a soy-free mayonnaise that they make. They have different offerings. And we just mix that. So you could have just done a salsa verde, but I like the creaminess that this provides. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then you can make these things up. We talk about batch cooking in the kitchen. So you can make not just a single use item. You could take some of the jars, the mason jars, and you can make a whole mixture of either your Chipotle mayonnaise mix, or we call it an aioli, right? Or your salsa verde. So you have it, and this will last you at least 2 weeks. So everything is in the preparation, especially when you're coming new to eating more plants. You want to have things readily available for you so that you don't have to think about, oh my gosh, I'm hungry, I'm having a craving, what do I do? And then just naturally we'll grab for those things that we know that maybe we've still got in the house. Even if you're vegan, don't go for the vegan junk food. That is not what we're talking about. We're talking about consuming whole plant-based foods. So making things from scratch as much as you can. Now, you saw me wrap yesterday. I kind of do the same thing here. This has a bit of juice, so I'm going to come in from this way versus coming this way, allowing things to spread out this way, and then you can have a mess. It just depends on what you're working with and what your ingredients are. Fold in there. Let's push back a little bit, Nina. There we go. You want to make sure you have a nice layering of everything also. So when you bite here, and you bite here, and you bite here, you get all of those flavors. You don't get cheated. And I know you all know what I mean. I've had that experience. I'm going to then I always come forward, pull back. Think about making sushi, right? And then just roll and roll and roll. Now, some people, most of the people in our cafe ask us to cut it. I like to just go in and bite into it. And this is usually how I have it in the morning because it's a pocket, it's self-contained. I just take it down and devour it. I devour food. So let's do this though, because I want you to see it from the inside. Want to use a sharp knife or a serrated. We're going to cut down into this. Ooh, it's juicy, Nina. It's so juicy. All right, let's do that. And then I'm going to lift it. Look at that goodness though. Just isn't that, let's get it in the camera, Nina. Where's your camera? Ah, so good. I can't wait to eat you, love. And then I always, those of you yesterday know, I always like to plate. Everything is in the plating. So I've added a little more of the Pico De Gallo. I've added a little more of the sauce because some people like to dip, right? And then I'm going to just take a little bit because I love colors, and I've taken some lime juice on this avocado. I've taken some paprika, smoked paprika. And there's my avocado. You don't have to add that. I like to get my good fat from my avocado in. And that is our breakfast burrito. I mean, who would want this? It's okay if you don't, because I'm going to eat it. I love it. And then I like to balance things. So this is a very savory dish, and another dish that you can quickly have ready for in the morning to eat alone or eat with this. One second. And I told Christy I was going to make her something really delicious. So Christy, I really owe you this when we can get together. So I'm going to move my main course over here. And then what I did here was made a chia porridge. And I took cashew milk. It's a little sweeter and it's fatter. And I used a cup of cashew milk to a 1/4 cup of chia seeds, and I let it congeal because chia seeds are very gelatinous, so they're wonderful for maintaining more hydration in the body. They hold up to 1,000 times their weight in water. That's why they make such a gelatinous pudding or parfait or porridge. I didn't add any additional sugar because the cashew milk to me is already sweet. Then I threw in fresh organic raspberries that were very sweet. And I just let that set overnight so I could present this to Christy and congratulate the San Francisco Veg Society on their 21st anniversary this year, and congratulate everybody behind the scenes working with Christy for the dedication they have and the commitment they have to still deliver such a wonderful program with so much information through this season. So Christy, I raise my chia to you.
Oh, thank you so much, Nina. That looks amazing. Wow. Oh my gosh.
I'm eating it for you too.
I want to have a drink of that right now. Oh my goodness, that is beautiful.
Let me show you, because we go in and it's gelatinous. So it's like a pudding. It's not liquid. It gets very gelatinous, like a porridge. You could even put your oats in it and do an overnight chia oat. So this is really good for a breakfast to start with. It's very nourishing. The Aztecs used to carry chia as they traveled, and probably dry, not like this, but it really helps with sustaining your appetite, letting you go longer. So this is also a go-to I will have, but I don't put sugar. I know maybe for a dessert, you can add a little agave, or you can add coconut nectar, or you can add whatever your favorite sweetener is. But I find it's just sweet enough for my palate, because I'm a saltier person. So here you go, Christy.
Oh, that looks good.
And yeah, and you can put more chia if you want it more gelatinous, but excuse me. I like it just like that. But if you have that, or even if you put a teaspoon of chia seeds in your water, forget boba, just stir it up. And then the water that you drink, your cells are going to stay more hydrated, because the chia is going to be working through. It's a great source of omega-3. It's great fiber, so it's very good for the digestive system and to help keep moving things going. Because one thing, when we start increasing our plant-based diet, you're going to start taking in more fiber, and the body might be going, whoa, 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 what's going on here? Because it's working to move things that have maybe been sitting in the large intestines way too long. So sometimes that scares people, because you get a little gurgling in the stomach and in, you know, the body area just midstream here, and they're not used to that. That can include other things that go along with that, because the body's trying to detox. But if you can get through that and start, you know, give gradually, don't eat 30 bananas. Gradually, then you just start to feel so wonderful. Chia can be made with a little bit of just the water, or you could put coconut milk. It makes a wonderful firming gel mask. You just got to rinse all the seeds off.
That's a good tip. I never even thought of using chia as a face mask.
Yeah, chia, Irish moss. There's so many good things, because if you wouldn't eat it, you have to think about what we're also putting on our body, because the skin absorbs so much based on the molecular size, but it really does. So if you're cleaning your internal body, you want to take note and take inventory of the things, obviously we know in our environment, but in our kitchen. So the oldest skincare is food. So there you go. I'll enjoy your chia for you until I can get it to you.
I'm going to enjoy it virtually for now. My goodness, I want to go out and get all of those ingredients and make that right now. The chia pudding, I want to make the breakfast burrito. That breakfast burrito is gorgeous. As Bob will tell you, I am a huge aficionado of breakfast burritos. And my problem is I get so excited about them. I make them so big. So your tip with the measurements, I was like, okay, write that down, because I need to remember to do that. And the skilling from the side and back.
Yes, portioning is everything. And then we can enjoy everything. And
exactly. And then get it measured out throughout too.
Yeah, and it's easy to go. No cheating. You know, if you want to lose some weight, COVID put some pounds on us. There's so many things we can do and not feel deprived. That's the thing. I don't like people feeling deprived. And on a plant-based diet, there's no deprivation. None.
That's the biggest key. And I loved that part of your presentation yesterday as well. It's like, no, you don't look at the wide array of variety you have out there in the plant kingdom. You will not be deprived on a vegan diet. That's for sure.
No, not at all. But thank you so much for having me. I hope everybody's really hungry now and tries out some of these things, because they're easy, they're accessible. You know, in the past, I was making my sausage, I was making different things. Chia also is a wonderful alternative for your eggs and your baking, your chia, your flax, your chickpea flour. So there's so many more things that people can do very easily today that there's no reason to say I don't have time or I can't do everything from scratch. It's just a wonderful time to be in the plant-based world. So thank you for all you do.
Oh, it's so true. Thank you, Nina. Thank you. Do you have a few minutes for a few questions from our audience?
I sure do.
All right, let me scan up because we've been getting questions from when we started. So let me get them. We had one good one that was, what other ideas do you have for breakfast other than, you know, your plain Jane oatmeals or cereals?
Yeah, like the chia is a wonderful way to go. We do on English muffin, we do avocado toast, and we just take an English muffin, put a little bit of vegan butter, and then we put our cheese on it, and then we put our avocado, we blister cherry tomatoes, and then put that on top, and then flip it in the oven under your broiler. And in less than 5 minutes, you have this delicious avocado toast. You can make this burrito wrap into a bowl if you don't want to do the flour tortilla. So you just take all the components. I usually will add a little bit of long grain brown rice and add to that with the egg and the sausage. I mean, if you don't want the sausage, we can switch out so many different ingredients. You could get your beans and your rice and your salsa and your tofu. You've got complete proteins in there. You've got good source of, you know, complex carbohydrates that keep you going all day. I think smoothies are a great way to go in the morning if you're trying to get a nutrition packed meal fast. And sometimes that's my go-to, where I'll make my smoothie the night before. I do my juicing the night before. I have a masticating juicer, so it's more chewing and it doesn't oxidize the juice. So it holds up to 72 hours. I mean, it's endless. Anything you could think that you could do for breakfast, pancakes, waffles. I mean, it's endless. There's nothing you can't do. I love grits.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I will do grits, and I will do collard greens, or I will do mustard greens. Maybe sometimes I throw in some tofu, but usually grits and greens for me that's my kind of weekend thing. My breakfast burrito, my grits. Through the week, because of my schedule, I'm doing faster things, or I just need to organize myself as I showed you here. But that is the meal I depend on to sustain me throughout the day. And throughout the day, sometimes can be 9 p.m. at night. So I'll graze through the day, because understanding the importance of metabolism and blood sugar level, I might just have a handful of nuts and raisins or sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. So we have those readily in the kitchen because we roast them and do so much from scratch. So I'll do that. Or one of my staff will say, "Chef, you haven't eaten," and they'll bring me something. And they know that I don't eat a lot. So they're really trained now, or they know to think for me. But I love English muffins. English muffin you could have prepped in the morning and do like a pizza, a breakfast pizza.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's endless.
Those are really, I love all of those suggestions.
I hope that was good. And, you know, I always ask people what they like, so I can narrow it down to, well, what are you used to eating already? Because I make a mean overnight still cut, slow cooked oats that and put all kinds of toppings on them that takes it from plain Jane to this is, you know, a top oatmeal that you love.
I have so many friends that are really into the steel cut overnight oats, and they swear by it. By it.
Yes. Our chia is very popular as a breakfast, and we'll take coconut meat and we'll culture that with a vegan probiotic and make a yogurt. So that's another great one. Ooh. And then you can add whatever, you make it for the week. It'll last about a week or more, but then you can put different fruits on it every morning, or you can fold in chia with it. So it is really endless.
Oh my gosh, that sounds delicious. Oh, that's a good idea. I have another question for you. Do you know, just by chance, how much longer Adventists live than most Americans? I think that is an interesting question. It's a compelling argument for going plant-based.
Yeah, they have the whole study, and I would suggest someone, you can go online and find out so much. I think it was for all the areas that were studied, it was like 10 plus years.
Wow. Wow. That is interesting. And just when you study plant-based cultures throughout the world, you do find that to be the case by and large, is that people are living 7 to 10 years, sometimes even longer in certain cultures. I think it's just so impressive to see these different studies done that are more, instead of people just choosing it for their health or just for the environment or whatever, where it's actually part of the culture. Yes. You get kind of a more interesting perspective on how plant-based living can really affect your health.
And it wasn't just the food, it was the social community environment. It was movement, not exercise. These people moved, they tilled the land, they're still doing it at 90, at 100. Mm-hmm. And the community was very big. Self-care wouldn't be labeled as such, but that was in more the spiritual realm, that area. And then of course, diet was key. They didn't label this. It's not a vegan labeled organization program. Adventist Health advocate vegetarianism, but under that, we understand a lot of people then fall into veganism. So even those that did eat some meat, it was so minimal, once a week, if that. And then they went and caught it. You chase your food all day. I don't know, you're gonna stay healthy. And of course, abstaining from smoking, and in cases, alcohol. So I don't want people to just think it was all about the plants, but that is a huge component of it. We know that for sure. And more studies are coming out just across the board, which is so exciting to have the scientific data behind it, scientific evidence.
It is. And I just saw our co-host, thank you, Erin. She just dropped a link in for everybody to check that out from National Geographic. Thank you for being on top of that, Erin.
Dan has come out with several books now. He's got a cookbook. He's got you can purchase a book that tells you how to live it. And they actually, they certify, I'm going to use the words, cities, not just companies. So Redondo Beach, I know in Southern California, became a blue zone area. So the whole city got involved with improving the quality of life for their community, which I think is huge.
That's really huge. And it just shows how much we can accomplish when we all work together as a community as well. It's really impressive. We did have a question from Ellen about making your own gluten-free wraps from, because she's interested in finding wraps without preservatives, and she knows a lot of the gluten-free wraps have a lot of preservatives. Do you have a recipe or a recommendation of a recipe for a gluten-free wrap?
I don't right off. It would be easy to come up with there. And why don't I follow up with you so we can get something posted up for people?
Oh yeah, and we did have, looks like somebody else recommended doing like an almond flour. Apparently an almond flour wrap is a fairly easy solution for that.
Yeah, there are several recipes out there. Some of them fail, even with the best interest. So for me, everything's about, if I say I'm going to give you a gluten-free tortilla wrap, I'm going to give you a recipe that holds up like this or very similar to this, because otherwise you're like, well, what's the point? But there are recipes out there, but I'll work with you. We'll get something up that we know holds up to what someone is expecting. That's so key.
That's so key. And honestly, tortillas are not the easiest thing in the world. I have a whole family that has made homemade tortillas our whole lives. And this one here, I'm a pretty good cook, but I cannot make a tortilla to save my life.
And there are good flours out there that are all-purpose flour that are gluten-free. They're using rice and fava bean and chickpea. So it's capable. You can do it. Then it comes in the technique. Because tortillas, I mean, at another place, we were pressing blue corn tortillas. It became so laborsome, but it was so delicious. But I had to choose where I could have my labor. And in the kitchen on a plant-based diet or providing 100% plant-based cuisine, there's a lot more labor shift because we are creating a lot of things. And even though there are a lot of things out on the market that are a little more processed than I like, we don't go to that. I mean, in culinary school, we made fresh tofu. It's a whole nother world. But do I have time to make fresh tofu at the volumes I would need? You've got to pick and choose. And so I just fill our plates with a lot of, you know, straight from the soil things to offset. But yes, we can create something so that she feels comfortable with that.
Oh yeah, that, and thank you for that. I really appreciate that, Nina. That's like going above and beyond the Call of Duty.
My pleasure. That's what we're here for, definitely, and it's what I do. Thank you.
And let's see. I know I got another one pop up out of the corner of my eye. Let me scroll through where it was.
Are people hungry? Can people say if they're hungry, if they're going to go try this, or are they engaged?
That's a good idea. Put it in there in the chat if you feel inspired to make the burrito, everybody. And thank you so much for your great questions this morning. These have been some great questions. And I did see a thank you for somebody else appreciated the facial recommendation for chia seeds. I literally have never heard that. That's such a good tip.
Yeah, it really just sits on the face. Irish moss is a good one too, but I like the chia seeds because you can wet your hands and just gently rotate, and you get a little bit of exfoliating action from the actual physical seed aspect without it being too tough on the skin and tearing the stratum corneum.
Oh, that's such and I remember when we spoke that you did say you know a lot about skincare. You're a skincare expert as well. So
yeah, I've had a skincare practice for years. So
a woman of many talents.
I would make smoothies for my clients after the facial. So I just weaved it in and they loved it.
Aaron said, I loved eating your skincare. That's so true. And the folks over at LOV, they always say, don't put anything on your skin that you wouldn't put in your mouth.
It's true. It's true when we really think about it. I mean, you know, we do the best we can. Just be mindful. Be mindful. Look at ingredients. Ingredient labels don't really tell me a lot. If I'm really interested in knowing about a product, I call the company up and get into a dialogue with them. Because as a vegan, we all have to watch, you know, there's gelatin hidden right in the middle of the ingredient label. And you would just think the way they promote it, oh, this is vegan friendly. And even vegan friendly, I'm like, who's deciding it's friendly to vegans? Why don't they just say it's vegan compatible? So I stand in the store doing research, and then I go online. I like to physically go look at the product. Then I come back and Google and get to the company and ask questions, and oftentimes get on the phone with customer service and train them. But that's another story. I think you get my personality a little bit by now. Well, let me tell you, in a very nice way, very nice way.
And it never hurts to ask too, because it does educate folks who are working for the company. Like these are questions that people that have on their mind. I'm not, just because I might be the only person who called about it doesn't mean I'm not the only person wondering about this.
No, and I looked at a product, it came up in my feed on social media, it said it was vegan, all this. I went and looked at the ingredients and there's petrolatum. I'm like, okay, well, yes, technically you're correct, but I don't want that either. So we really have to take responsibility. I come from a marketing background, and that's what marketing does. It sells you, but you've got to get down and read the fine print and spend your dollars with the people. In my opinion, I spend my dollars with the people that are really working hard to deliver things for animal welfare, for our environment, for our health, all around. And I know it costs them more, so I rather spend my dollars with them and pay a little more than paying more anyway for something I didn't really want and it wasn't what they presented it to be. Spill over for Sunday.
It's true though. It's always vote with your dollars. That's what really makes a difference in a lot of ways, voting with your dollars. And I want to appreciate, I love that everybody this morning in the chat, they're all helping each other out. So they've been answering each other's questions. I love that. This is like, the closest thing, this is exactly what I kind of envisioned when I came up with the idea of doing the virtual Veg Fest, is I wanted to find a way to recreate that kind of camaraderie, that kind of community that we have at the in-person Veg Fest. And I just love that, like, everybody's getting together in the chat and answering each other's questions, and we're able to have a back and forth in as live a way as we can right now during COVID. So I really appreciate you making time for us today, Nina. It's so great to see you again. Thank you for not only doing one, but two awesome demos for us. It warms my heart, and I really appreciate you. And I hope that we can work together again soon.
I look forward to it. It takes a village, and my heart is just wide open, and sending love to everyone out there, because it doesn't matter if we're physical energy travels through these waves. So know that I'm loving you all. I want you all to eat well, and keep us posted with the things that you're trying and sharing, and we'll follow through with what we said we'll get up. So thank you, Christy.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Nina. We'll talk soon.
All right, I'm going to eat my burrito.